former U.S. ambassador to Germany, former acting director of national intelligence, and the founder now of FixCalifornia.com, which I really want to get into. Welcome, Richard Grenell. How are you, sir?
Glenn, thanks for having me.
You bet. Someday, I really just want to spend the day with you. I mean, I'll go follow you around if that's what it takes. But I have so many things.
I would enjoy it.
Okay. So let me get, because we have such limited time, let me get to some things that are on my mind. Let's start with the hacking. I've never seen an administration say, well, this is a private company that is being hacked. They should pay the ransom, but that's up to them. And it looks like they're coming from China in some of these, the transportation one in New York City, but the rest of them are coming from Russia. Any chance that Putin doesn't know that this is going on?
Look, let's be very clear. All of the world leaders right now are testing the Biden administration. These increased hacks are because they're trying to see how Biden is going to react. They're trying to test the limits. How far can they go before we react, we, the United States of America? And they knew those lines, Glenn, very clearly under the Trump administration. They knew exactly
very clearly
if they did something that impacted America, that there would be an immediate and bigger reaction. And the bigger reaction is the key here, because what the message is sent when you put America first is we will protect our people first, and we will have overwhelming force that will come at you, whether it's sanctions, tariffs, airstrikes. Donald Trump used every single tool that the United States government had to protect us.
Well, Joe Biden is going to go over and talk to Putin. I can't imagine how badly that's going to go. Are we sending? What message are we sending back to them? And how bad does this have to become before it's an act of war?
Well, I talked before the campaign. I talked a lot about Joe Biden's global philosophy, and he believes in consensus with the rest of the world, and certainly the importance of consensus with Western governments. Now, that sounds amazing, right? It sounds like, can't we all just hug it out and get along? But the practical reality is that we have a difference of opinion, even when it comes to Western allies like Germany. If you are going to put as the priority that the German government has to agree and complement our positions, then you just watered it down. And let me give you the perfect example. Nord Stream 2 pipeline is a pipeline that goes too far with gas and energy into Europe. We, the United States, believe that Nord Stream 1 is okay. It's part of the equation of having a diversified energy source. So we don't mind Europe and Germany getting some Russian gas, but Nord Stream 2 goes too far. By the way, the European Parliament actually agrees with us, agrees with the United States. The French agree with us. A whole bunch of countries in Europe agree with us. Joe Biden looked at the Germans, and I can tell you unequivocally that in their call between Chancellor Merkel and Joe Biden, the Chancellor brought up Nord Stream 2. And Joe Biden wants to please Angela Merkel. He wants the German government to like him. So when they ask, hey, will you let us have Nord Stream 2, he prioritizes the compliments of Germany over the position of the United States. And so while he's shutting down pipelines in the United States, he's allowing them to go forward because the Germans asked for it, and he prioritizes having the Germans like him. This is a very dangerous and slippery slope when you go to the UN, say, and you want to be liked and you want the crowd to cheer you. This means that you water down our policy in order to please others.
As a director of national intelligence, you oversee all of the arms of intelligence, right?
Correct.
Okay. Um, President Biden and his allies are saying the biggest threat, according to the intelligence that he's receiving, the biggest threat to the United States of America is white supremacy and, Donald Trump supporters. Did you ever see any intelligence that would back any of that up?
Absolutely not. It's outrageous. It's politicizing the intelligence community. It's also making us less safe, because if you want to pull resources and articulate a position that this is where we need to concentrate, this is the priority, then the reality is that the Counterterrorism Center that is run by the intelligence community will shift its resources to trying to seek out information surrounding that phony argument. Now, let's be very clear. Of course, it's a problem, but it's not the top problem. It's just like, Russia is a problem for us, but China is a crisis. And when you constantly say, look over there at Russia, look at all of these problems, you're literally giving the Beijing line. The Chinese applaud us when we say, go concentrate on the Russia crisis, because it's not a crisis, and therefore we take our eye off the ball. This is exactly what's happening when we say white supremacy in America is the problem. And don't be surprised that over the last 4 years, how the Democrats have told us that our system, when they say that it's called systemic racism, what they mean is that the system of the United States government, local, state, and federal government, the system supports racism. When they say systemic, racism, that what they mean is that our system promotes racist policies. That is not only wrong, it's dangerous, because now what we're finding is that the Russians and the Chinese are calling us racists and a systemic racist problem. So the racism, sexism, homophobia mantra from the Democrats, I don't know why people are now surprised that the Chinese come to Alaska and negotiate with us and then lecture us on being a racist society. Now we've seen Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, deliver the same line. The Russians are now telling us, be prepared that we are now on the active plane of being on the offense, pointing out all of your problems in America. This undercuts our moral authority. And lastly, let me finish, Glenn. It's outrageous that our U.S. ambassador to the UN would go to the United Nations and from the podium where there's 193 plus countries and entities in that room, and say that we are systemically racist. That is damaging our moral authority, and it's now being thrown in our face. And I don't think the Biden administration is going to be able to ever have the moral upper hand to tell countries like Iran or the epidemic in the Arab world of throwing gay people off buildings, or denying women basic rights, or denying Christians the ability to just, gather and worship.
I am so offended today that the Biden administration is saying that they're going to fly gay pride flags for the first time at embassies and all around the world, except for Indonesia, except for the Middle East, anywhere where it counts.
It matters.
They're not. It matters there. They're killing homosexuals there, and they're not going to say anything. What moral authority do we have at all?
Yeah. By the way, this whole rainbow flag thing is ridiculous. Let's be honest. It doesn't do anything. It's like wearing a red ribbon at the Hollywood Awards and pretending like you've done something for AIDS research. It's phony. It's typical. What we did in the Trump administration was go to countries that criminalize homosexuality and ask them to change their policies. This is the substantive work that has to be done. The whole idea of a rainbow flag and all of that is ridiculous. It's pandering. Look, there's a meme going around right now, which I think you should post. It's incredibly powerful. It's all of the corporate America, all the CEOs in America, corporations, that have changed their logo for the month of June into colorful pride logos, like BMW or Cisco, right? They don't
Disney,
do it.
Mercedes, yeah.
Right. They don't do it outside of the United States. So while they're pounding their chest in WeHo and Chelsea, they're not doing it in Ramallah and Riyadh. It's really outrageous that where it matters to take a stand, they're not taking a stand, but they're trying to pretend like they are in America, and Americans keep falling for it. We've got to be able to decipher between phony and real, and we're not doing a very good job right now because we don't have the help of the media.
So we only have a couple minutes left, and I want to ask you, first of all, the intelligence arm of the post office, when did that happen? Did you know? Did you know about? I mean,
it's small,
Biden is.
It's mail fraud.
Go ahead.
And it's mail fraud. A lot of people have been using the Postal Service to push, fake and phony and even terrorist type support mechanisms. So that's real. But, to be honest, it should not be, and if I had more time at DNI, I would have changed this. It should not be based within the Postal Service. And technically it's not. They'll tell you that the intelligence gathering is an arm that just works with the post office. But the reality is that after 9/11, we realized that our intelligence agencies were getting the pieces of problems, but not communicating and linking those together. And so I think it's a huge mistake to actually create another bureaucracy because the bureaucracies aren't talking to each other. And that's what we did with the DNI. When we created the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, in theory, it was a coordinating body, and it was to be 100 or 200 people coordinating. Now it's ballooned to 1,800 people plus.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a competing body. It competes with the other agencies, and there's overlap. I went in and removed 350 people, and, of course, Politico and all of the Washington, D.C. media attacked nonstop that I was dismissive of counterterrorism. But the reality is that we have intelligence agencies, and I think this is what you're getting at, that overlap and do things that already others are doing. And so it's not smart because our tax dollars are being wasted and we're not able to do as much because we're spending double money on the same problem. And sometimes it's a waste, a total waste.
Well, I bring it up, Richard, because that's the one that is saying that white supremacy is the biggest. They're the ones issuing the warnings that Biden in Homeland Security are using. Some information from the post office, which I find is amazing.